Good morning. It is the 26th day of September 2024 and you're right on time for K24's New Dawn. My name is Joel Chacha. Today being on a Thursday, as usual, we focus on matters economy. The 2024-2025 tax revenue collections have started at, of course, of measly growth. For instance, the revenue generated in the month of August 2024 was 153.33 billion Kenya shillings, which is a representation of 5.65% down, and as well that is for year in year, and 3.8% for month on month. That is compared to July 2024. During the period, the government borrowed 91.7 billion Kenya shillings domestically, whereas externally it borrowed 3.07 billion Kenya shillings, according to pundits or economists. They argue that such a move at some point creates liquidity crisis in the country, considering there is actually those who want to access loans, especially MSMEs, from domestic banks are unable, since the government already has borrowed, for instance, within August alone, 91.77 billion Kenya shillings compared to 3 billion Kenya shillings from external sources. Now, during the period, recurrent expenditure, that is the month of August, was 109.36 billion Kenya shillings, while development expenditure, remember President William Ruto has been touring various places in what he says is launching projects, has only been 17.24 billion Kenya shillings. Now, that's for the month of August 2024. Remember, in the fiscal year 2024-2025, which began July. Now, how much KRA collected in the month of July 2024 was 159 billion Kenya shillings. Remember, in August, it has gone down. We only collected 153 billion Kenya shillings. So there is a down there of about 5%. The amount of money that we used to repay our debt in the month of July, that is the consolidated fund spending, was 96 billion Kenya shillings. So here we collected 159 billion Kenya shillings, but used 96 billion Kenya shillings to repay our debts. Recurrent expenditure during that period, that is July 2024, was 52 billion Kenya shillings. So how much did you use for development? Only a paltry 1 billion Kenya shillings. So far for the 2 months, now remember we are edging towards the end of September. So for the 2 months or so far, there has been zero disbursement of the equitable share. That is the amount that are budgeted for counties. In this case, there is a dispute whether it should stand at 400 billion Kenya shillings or 380 billion Kenya shillings, owing to the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024. So there is a heated debate on whether that should reduce by about 20 billion Kenya shillings. Remember, there was a supplementary one budget that reduced the budget. We'll be getting to the numbers shortly. These, even as we keep missing our revenue targets already, that talks on digitization of the revenue collection, that is between KRA, the National Treasury, and as well the Council of Economic Advisors, which also have been highlighted in one of our dailies. I'll be touching on that shortly. Remember the Privatization Act, the one that they wanted to sell KICC. Now, the High Court determined the Privatization Act of 2023 as unconstitutional. It has been thrown out on grounds that it lacked public participation. Remember, this public participation is also a matter that saw the appellate court also uphold the High Court decision that the Finance Act of 2023 is unconstitutional, but there is an appeal that is before the Supreme Court, also on the grounds that public views were not incorporated as it was to be. So, as a result of this court ruling, the National Treasury had projected revenue targets for this fiscal year in general. Remember, we have ordinary revenue and cumulative revenue targets. So the decision of now not privatizing will cost KRA to lose a whopping 7.3 billion Kenya shillings that was expected as the impact of winding up 47 SOEs, that is, state-owned enterprises. Now, total revenue collections for this fiscal year, remember, I've just highlighted for the month of July and that of August. For the month of, now for this whole fiscal year, that is beginning July 2024 to the end, to June 2025, that is the financial year 2024-2025, our total target is that is 3.057 trillion Kenya shillings. That is, of course, it includes the ordinary revenue and ministerial aid in appropriations in aid, or A in A. And so it's 3.05 trillion. It was reduced by about 250 billion due to the withdrawal of the finance bill. Now, for the ordinary revenue targets, we're targeting about 2.63 trillion Kenya shillings. That is from the initial 2.9 trillion Kenya shillings. And so, if you're asked what is the revenue to the GDP ratio, so far it's 14.6% of the GDP. The ministerial appropriations in aid, which also forms now the total revenue targets, stands at 425 billion Kenya shillings. This one was not reduced even after the withdrawal of the finance bill 2024. Remember the increase in the road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings? Now that is expected to rake in about 32 billion Kenya shillings. That is as far as our revenue matters are concerned, and the budget as well, which forms a better part of our conversation this morning. But also we have a headache. CS Oparanya, MSMEs, he's seeking on how to recover 13 billion Kenya shillings that was loaned to Kenyans under the Hustler Fund, and they have since defaulted. Are you among them? Are you planning to repay? Talk to us, and I'll be sampling some of your feedback. This even as President William Ruto has backed Starlink entry to Kenya, despite rivalry with Safaricom. He says it brings about competition, and competition is a good thing. In studio, to dissect all these and put them into perspective, I'll be joined by very key guest, that is Ruth Kinyanjui, an economist, Honorable David Sankok, Member of Parliament Yala, and Honorable Frederick Ikana, who is the Shinyalu Member of Parliament. But before getting to that conversation, we begin with our dailies this morning. Our own publication here at Media Max, that is the People Daily. Splashes of inside night meetings to impeach Deputy President. While a section of Rift Valley leaders think Gachagwa's removal is a done deal, others warn move may be their own Waterloo. That is on page 4 of the People Daily. There is an image there also of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. So on page 4 of the People Daily, just to get more details about this particular story, members of Parliament pushing for the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua were set to meet last night to firm up a strategy to kick him out in the shortest time possible. Wanasema mapema ndio best. Sources told the People Daily that last night's meeting was a follow-up on another held on Tuesday night at Weston Hotel that is believed actually to be owned by President Ruto on Langata Road, that is Nairobi County, for long associated with the First family. The MP, who spoke exclusively to the People Daily, revealed that the meeting was exclusively for MPs from the Kalenjin Rift Valley, who felt it was necessary to strike a consensus among themselves and consolidating their numbers before reaching out to like-minded members of Parliament from other regions. According to the MP, those in attendance were, however, split down the middle over the move to impeach Gachagua. Gachagua is the Deputy President, with one side arguing that it would jeopardize President William Ruto's 2027 re-election bid, while the other group was adamant that the DP must be kicked out. Now, on whipping emotions, those who spoke strongly against the impeachment, that is People Daily Land, included Johanna Ngeno, who is the Murwa Decade Member of Parliament, also the chair of the Housing Committee. Musa Sirma Eldama Ravin is also the chair of the NGCDF. Titus Lote Kachaliba Member of Parliament, and as well Jackson Mandago is the Uasin Gishu Senator, all who are of the opinion that it will be politically suicidal to antagonize the Mount Kenya region by kicking out the DP. They further argue that if not for the DP, Ruto would have never clinched the 2022 election. Now, those in the camp, or in the camp that are, of course, opposed, or who want Gachagua to be impeached, that is, there is a split which is almost a 50-50. It includes Oscar Sudi, who is the Kapseret Member of Parliament, Gladys Both Sholei, also the Deputy Speaker in the National Assembly, Uasin Gishu County MP, Julius Meli, Chair of the Education Committee, is a member from SOP, Samson Cherarkei, Nandi, Senator Sudi, particularly argued that the DP had shown great disrespect to the president and should be forced out immediately. United position. It is a result of the split of that the MPs agreed to meet last night. That is, last night was on Wednesday night. Remember, there was an initial meeting on Tuesday night at Western Hotel. And so this meeting, again, was to come up with the united position on the matter. If the consensus was reached, the MPs will then go ahead to come up with the very compelling grounds to ensure the impeachment motion goes through once tabled in the National Assembly. According to the law, a motion seeking to impeach the Deputy President must garner the support of at least 1/3 of the total membership of the National Assembly before it is tabled in the House. But the mover will require at least 2/3 of the MPs to impeach the Deputy President. Remember, here there are two issues. For the motion to see the light of the day, it requires at least 2/3. But for you to be able to impeach the Deputy President, it requires, that is 1/3 if you are to table the motion, that is in terms of signature collection. But in terms of removing him, it requires at least 2/3 of the MPs to impeach Gachagua. The weekend, Gachagua allies had claimed that the motion would be tabled in the National Assembly this week by two MPs allied to the opposition leader Raila Odinga. Remember, he's now actually Kenya's AU candidate. Opondo Kaluma, that is Homa Bay Town Member of Parliament, and Junet Mohammed, Suna East Member of Parliament, is also the minority leader in the National Assembly. They claim that the impeachment motion is in the final drafting stage that will be tabled by a parliamentarian from the opposition side. But remember, we've seen that the members from Rift Valley, the one who have been meeting as far as the matter is concerned, but usually still possible, they can draft the motion, then hand it over perhaps to Opondo Kaluma of Homa Bay Town or Junet Mohammed to table it. Not others consider proxies. Now, former United Democratic Alliance UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala cautioned that the oust of Gachagua will also affect the re-election of Ruto and urged him to block the process. What are your thoughts on this? Political friction. They urged the head of state to crack the whip and end the political friction with his deputy, noting that Gachagua's loyalty to him has even seen the DP arrested. They went on to claim that Ruto will sponsor Gachagua's impeachment motion and urged him to stop the scheme for the betterment of the country. This is as far as Gachagua's problems are concerned. Whether he'll be impeached or not, it is a matter of wait and see, and that is what the Standard has captured this morning. Staring at an impeachment drawing near, that is on the Standard newspaper. MPs say the motion to remove Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is ready and has garnered the requisite support from members to meet the threshold. However, there is a split on who will lead the onslaught, with some pointing to the or rather at the opposition, through Junet Mohammed and others. The government side through Kimani Ichung'wah. Who is who? That is on page 7 and 8. Here, the Standard has highlighted. 1, the impeachment motion against Gachagua could be tabled in Parliament anytime now, with reports suggesting it is ready and has support of necessary number of members of Parliament. 2, Ruto's allies say signatures are coming in fast and furious, and that more than 116 lawmakers have signed and may be tabled before the president returns from his U.S. trip. Perhaps so that they may argue that the president has no hand in this. Let's wait and see whether today will be that day of breaking news. The other day, remember, there was a censure motion that was tabled by the Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana at the Senate. And we saw the reactions that it elicited. And so today, we wait and see whether the impeachment motion will be tabled on the floor of the House. Number 3, this is not the first time that the country is witnessing threats to have its deputy president ousted, as DP, that is Ruto, faced similar threats when he fell out with the President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is during the last regime. Just to highlight the Standard newspaper, that is on page 7 and 8 quickly. Gachagua ousted a motion ready for House to debate anytime now. The impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua could be tabled in Parliament anytime now, with others especially saying that it could be today, with reports suggesting it is ready and has attained the necessary support from members of Parliament. Sources said signatures that have been collected or that were coming fast and furious are more than 116 lawmakers that have signed, while some have threatened on social media that the plan could be set rolling in 2 weeks. Insiders told the Standard that President William Ruto allies want the motion tabled before President returns from his U.S. trip. Remember, he has been attending the United Nations General Assembly meeting. The President is expected back on Saturday, meaning the impeachment motion could be tabled today if the timelines promised are to be followed, given MPs do not sit on Friday. Usually MPs sit on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so today could be the D-Day. Sources say the motion actually could be tabled today, having been endorsed by by a third actually of the lawmakers across the political divide. Others, on condition of anonymity, said it will be tabled next week, as the subject was too sensitive to be rushed and they did not want to afford Gachagua any loopholes. Yesterday, an MP from the Mount Kenya claimed that the leader of minority, that is in the National Assembly, Junet Mohammed, could be the one who could be used to table this particular motion that will seek to remove Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president. Now, in studio, I'm joined by Honorable David Sankok, even as we focus on this matter, on Gachagua's impeachment. Thank you so much for creating time this morning.
Thank you.
Honorable Sankok is a member of the IALA, that is the East Africa Legislative Assembly.
Thank you very much, Chacha. I've just walked from Parliament. I came from Narok, driving myself. I dropped my car in Parliament. I park it.
But do you have offices in Parliament now? I think I saw some images yesterday.
No, I have offices in Azina Trade Center.
Okay. So it's not in the
Legislative Assembly.
It's not in the Bunge Towers.
No, it is not in the Bunge Towers.
It looked familiar.
These ones are bigger.
Okay.
They are spacious. They are well furnished.
Ah, great.
Yes.
So
we are the Bunge Towers.
Well, we are looking at the Gachagua's impeachment, that the motion could be tabled today in Parliament. You are a member of the IALA. Has this happened in any other East Africa country, now that you are exposed from a regional perspective?
In fact, in East Africa, Kenya is considered as a beacon of peace and democracy. You know that we have had 5 presidents. It's only one of them who died in power. President Moi handed over the instrument of power peacefully, democratically, and went to his rural home and relaxed. Mwai Kibaki the same, he handed over power in a very democratic manner and went home retired. The same with the Uhuru Kenyatta, who is still with us, and he have handed over power in a very democratic manner in Kasarani, in broad daylight. And he retired peacefully. Here he is nowadays in Masai Mara and also doing his businesses without interfering with politics. So that is how other countries consider Kenya. You remember in some countries neighboring, I don't want to mention, because I'm nowadays a diplomat, there have been coup and overthrows of governments. There have been guerrilla wars. But here in Kenya, we have never had such. So when East Africa hear about impeachment motion and such, we really hold Kenya in a very high esteem. We expect Kenyan to be an economic powerhouse, apart from being democratic and a beacon of peace. We expect to see legacy projects like Thika Superhighway, the Expressway, the SGR, you know, very...
so it's tainting our image outside there.
But to see a legacy of impeachment, a legacy of Adani taking over airports, I don't think it will really... in East Africa, we are not comfortable.
So people are shocked that even as President Ruto aims to unite the region and Africa,
you know,
back
Kenya,
home,
yes, you know,
there is a problem, especially with his immediate official, that is the deputy president.
I wish Kenyans could know how Kenya is held at high esteem in East Africa. We know when Kenya catches cold, other countries sneezes. But now, we are not very comfortable.
Kwa hivyo inachoma picha.
Inachoma, imechoma. Si ati inachoma, imeshachoma. Imeungua.
Also in studio, we are now joined by Ruth Kinyanjui. She is an economist. Thank you so much for catching them this morning.
Thank you.
Well, at a time that Kenyans should be focused on matters of the economy, we just come from the withdrawal of the Finance Bill of 2024, and it's not clear whether the Supreme Court will allow the Finance Act of 2023 to proceed. Here we are, politicking on the impeachment of the Deputy President. Will it hurt the economy at the end of the day?
What do you mean, Chacha? This is going to really hurt the economy. This year alone, we've seen one of the biggest disruptions of the economic times, and especially during the Mandamano and the Gen Z demonstrations. So everything will come to really destroy the economy. And we do not, as Mheshimiwa said, we do not have time for this. We want to progress. We want to be held in high esteem. Let me take you back to 2022, a time like this when the government went to the polls. Did it know that this marriage is for convenience? Was it doing it for convenience, or was it doing it for helping or for the sake of Kenyans? That's what we should be looking about. It's not about the interest of Deputy President or the interest other people have. It is about this nation. What are we building? Then also we should be looked at like we are not here to undermine other people. It is more about this country, and they have said it. The politicians have said it again and again. Kenya is bigger than anyone else in this country. So Kenya still remains to be big. And remember, we're in the process, right now we're in the process of Finance Bill 2025. Is it going to fly or not? So that is really a underlying. So we do not have take the to take. Let them know right now. It's not business as usual. Gen Z, for example, is a tribe that was not known, and which is a majority, considering that 5% of youth in this country are unemployed. They are going there through their cycle. There are also other irritants. Kenyans are already irritated with a lot of things, including the selling of this institution and other. Are angry. I think we cannot continue angering.
have social media platforms at K. I'll be sampling some of the. We'll be back still with the newspaper review, more specifically touching on the impeachment motion against Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president, which is believed could be tabled today. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with that conversation. Stay tuned.